Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Coding Care. Today I will discuss one of the concept called service registry. So what is service registry? Okay. So in the last video I discussed how one services communicate with another services, right? So in user services, if you'll see here in user controller, when I call this create investment API, in here I call this create investment method, and here if you'll see here I call this fund API. This is get request, and I am passing this fund ID, and based on the fund ID I am fetching the fund information, and this API is running on fund services. Okay, in here if you'll see it, if you'll check here inside controller, this is my fund controller and this is the API. Okay, so based on the information I'm calculating some of the fields. This is how we call one services to another services. But thing is here I hard code the URI. Then what is the problem if I'll do the hard coding? The first problem is, suppose this is my user services, okay, and this is my fund services. Now this is user service and this is fund services. Now fund services running on one instance. One instance is nothing but one port number. If you'll go here now, if you'll check here, the fund API running on 9091. Okay, so here I can mention this is running on 9091 port. Okay, so suppose I created one more instance of the fund here I created three instances of the fund. This is running on 9091, this is running on 9092, and this is running on 9093. Okay, and the URL also different, I mean IP address also different. Suppose this instance have IP address, let's say 192 something, okay, and this have something, let's say this is 1, and this is something, let's say this is 2. So this is also fund service, this is also fund services. I created three instances of my fund service having IP address is different and port number also different. So in that cases, if I'll call the fund API from the user services, and if I'll do the hard code from here, then it might be call only one instance, right? It will not call all the instance. Here I can't call this instance or can't call this instance. So in that cases, what we'll do? So now the service registry came. So what's the service registry? Service registry is nothing but, suppose think that this is my service registry. Okay, just think that this is a fund book directory. Okay, so this is my service registry. Okay, and suppose think that this is a fund book directory. Okay, this fund book directory have saved the all the information about our number. Okay, if I want to dial something or if I want to call someone, then I can just go to the fund book directory and I'll search the name, then I can call directly. Okay, the service registry also something how. Okay, so what it will do, so this one keep the track of the each of the services IP address and port number. Okay, it will keep all the track of this information, all the funds and all the services information. Okay, suppose I have three instances of my fund services and different port and different IP address. So the service registry will keep all the information about our services. Okay, suppose the benefit is, so user service wants to connect to the fund services. Okay, so user service will go to the service registry. It will ask, hey service registry, I want fund information and I want to call the fund API. Please help me where it is. What's the IP address and what's the port number? Okay, the user will go to this one. Okay, the user will go to this one, to the service registry, and it will ask, hey, what is the IP and port number, and I want to call fund service API. Okay, I want to call the fund service API, just tell me what's the IP and what's the port. So it will help to find out the IP address and fund information, then only the user can send the requests to here. This is the way we can solve using the service registry. Also, it is helping to load balancing. Suppose user said like I want the fund information, and I'll pass this get fund by id. I'll pass the fund id. I'll not mention IP address and port number. I'll only mention the service name instead of port number and IP address. I'll tell I want fund services. What I'll tell? I'll tell I need fund services. Okay, then I want to call get fund id API. That's it. But the service registry, how to send the request to one of the instances. That's why the register can help the distributor to request the send. Either the request will send to here or here, or here. This is nothing but load balancing. Okay. Well, first is it will help to service discovery, and second is it will help the load balancing, and third is when the system is down, then the register can ensure the system redirects to request to the healthy instances. Now this is fair, right? This is not healthy. This is running, right? This is healthy, and this is also healthy. Okay, so he knows, service registry know which is healthy, then only he send the request. Okay, this is the purpose of the service registry. Then now how we'll implement the service registry? Okay, so we'll use Eureka. Okay, Eureka is the service registry. First we need to add the dependency of Eureka server. Let's create one services. First I'll create one Spring Boot project. Okay, this is new Spring Boot project, and here I'll create one service registry. Then next here I'll add the Eureka server. Okay, that's it. Then next, then finish. Now my service registry is created. Now in the results in properties file, what we need to mention here, first server.port number I will change. So port is let's say 8761. So this is by default, it's running on port number 8761. Okay, now the second thing is we need to add the properties, something register with Eureka client. Eureka client register with Eureka equal to false, because this is something, this is service registry. Okay, this is not a client, that's why you are making it as false, otherwise it will give the error. Okay, it will trying to search the client by itself. Okay, then something called fetch registry, Eureka client fetch registry, this is also need to be false. Now application.properties file is ready. I'll run this service. Okay, I'll run this service. So failed to start bin Eureka. Okay, so first we need to enable the Eureka server. So in SRC, in application, we need to add one annotation called @enable Eureka. Okay, Eureka server. Then restart the application. Okay, restarted. Now it's running on 8761. If I'll go to my here and localhost 8761, okay, now no service has registered inside this Eureka, right? Then how I will register my service to this Eureka service registry? Suppose here I have created font service 1 and one is user service. There are two services there. I want to register these two services inside this service registry. Suppose I'll go to fund services. First I'll add one dependency called Eureka client. So I'll add here Eureka client. I'll go to the Maven repository, Eureka client, Spring Cloud Starter, Netflix Eureka client. Yeah, this is the one. You can just copy the dependency and add here. Now after adding the dependency, I'll go to the properties file. This is properties file. I'll mention the URL where the service registry is running. Service registry now is running in localhost 8761, right? This one I need to tell here where is my service registry is running. So one properties is there, Eureka dot client dot service URL. Yeah, service URL dot default gen. Here I need to mention the URL, right? And slash Eureka. Okay, now this is So this is where I can mention the address of the service registry. Okay, so now one more thing I need to add, that is called load balancing. Okay, spring dot cloud, spring dot cloud, not this one, dot something retrieve mechanism is there, retrieve dot enable, this is true. Okay, this will help to do the load balancing work. Okay, so now the similar kind of thing, I just copy these two fields, then I just go to my user service. This is my user service, and in the resource in application.properties I just add these two properties. Now why it's giving error? Because I did not add the dependency. I just copy the dependency here. Here I just copy the dependency. This is Eureka client, and I'll go to that. This is user service form.xml. Here I can add the dependency. Okay, suppose here I'll add the dependency. Now just rerun the application. One services I just running. Now this is my user services. Okay, now two services has run. Just go to the Eureka, just refresh it. The fun services is running on this, so it will assign one IP address. Okay, and this is my fun service name, application name. This is user service application name. This is how Eureka service registry works. Okay, now my fun services and user services register inside Eureka service registry. Okay, I have in fund services only one instance is running. Let's say one more instance is running in fund services. How we can do that? Suppose I just copy this project, and just paste it. This is fund services 2. Okay, and okay, just copy it, and here what I'll do, I just change the port number. This is 9092. Okay, this is 9092. Okay, perfect. Now this one also I just running this application. Okay, it started. Now I just refresh it. See, now my fund services has two instances. Okay, if I'll call this one, this user service, this one directly it will call, right? Instead of how I'll call this one or this one, how the service registry works. So instead of mentioning this localhost 9091, I just mention this service name here. Okay, I'm not mentioning IP address or port number. First it will go to this fund services, then it checks in fund services that is two instance is there. Okay, so here load balancer will help to either this API will call or this instance will call, right? So just rerun this application. So I just changed here, then I just go to my user services and stop it. Then I just restart my this one. Okay, spring boot up. Okay, now I call this API here, create investment /1. Okay, I'm getting 500. Why? So let's check the unknown host exception fund services. Because this is something dispatcher servlet failed to client research exception get request fund. Okay, maybe this is not found because of the load balancer we did not configuration. When we are calling this API by using the REST template, okay, I have to mention the load balancer as well. So in the configuration section, okay, this is REST template, I can mention @load balanced. Okay, load balanced, then only it will work. Okay, again just restart the system. Okay, it's restarted. Now send the request. Yeah, now my response came. I did not mention any IP address or port number. Okay, see here one services is running on two instances. One instances is running on this IP address, and this is the port number, and this is the IP address, and this is the port number. Okay, here I am not doing any hard code. Instead of I am passing the fund services, the application name I am passing. Based on the application name, it will check how many instances is running inside this service registry. Then my load balancer helps me to send the request one of the instances. This is how our service registry works. Okay, thank you guys. Next video I'll discuss how API gateway is working. Yeah. Thank you everyone. Bye.